this Shido-Sei combo is bad news. Let's break it down. Hey everyone, Bruce Doom 3 Anime here. Monkey D. Gucci, Laundry Room Bruce. I think y'all know what it is. Today we're here talking about chapter 127 of Blue Lock, freshly released, and as I mentioned just now, the combination of Shido and Sei is proving to be quite the explosive reaction, to use Shido's favorite phrase. Their combination was thwarted last chapter. We saw Nico use his field vision and his defensive prowess to stop the play in question, but we find out this chapter that the combination of Sei and Shido is just kind of too potent to be stopped continuously. As of right now, I'm sure the flow state of Isagi will be kind of the key to stopping them, as he's mentioned about, the first one to figure out Shido on the field will be the key to victory. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So they collide last chapter at the end, and we pick up this chapter with kind of the aftermath of that. Him standing up, kind of him explaining, him meaning Nico, sorry. Nico explaining to Isagi kind of his thought process, his field of view, his vision leading up to that shot attempt, how he broke it down, how he ended up at the conclusion, right? That whole shebang, the whole kind of process. And let me know if the mic quality, guys, is good. I'm kind of bringing it a little more towards my face. Let me know if the audio quality is good on your end. Appreciate it. But after that, he kind of remarks that to Isagi that he realized something as he was making that play just now. And it's something that on a personal level I really enjoyed. And that is that Nico comments that he had a lot of fun just now playing defense and thwarting the attempts of a striker. He had a lot of fun stopping a striker in his tracks and blocking him from doing what he wants. And I say it's fun on a personal level because I've always been somebody who likes distributing. I like area control, like in hero shooters and video games, RPGs. I like having kind of the whole area to look at and kind of assess the situation and do my own thing with. In football and sports specifically, defense isn't a glamorous job, but it's something that wins championships. Defense does absolutely win championships in IRL sports. In IRL sports. It does win championships. So, even though it's not glamorous, it is necessary, but some people find a lot of enjoyment in it. I do personally. I love playing defense in things like, I've only played a little bit of football, but in American football, I played defense. In basketball, I like playing defense a lot. And baseball especially, I love batting, but I loved playing defense even more, just stopping and making like double plays. For those familiar with baseball and how it works, it's a lot of fun to play defense on baseball. And I just thought I should mention and talk about that because we see Nico kind of have a moment where he is experiencing growth as a football player, and obviously there was a lot of trepidation on the part of Blue Lock players before the match started on how they do in their new positions, because they all are strikers. And even us as readers, I'm sure, were wondering how it'd go when all strikers, and the whole goal, pun intended, of the manga is to build the best striker. But now that we're seeing a fully fledged football team, we're seeing these players grow first and foremost as football players, not strikers, in my opinion. I think their football IQ is going up and up and up and up and up in this match. And it's interesting on a personal level for me to see Nico here, and I'm excited for other players to kind of have maybe realizations about that. Maybe not all of them. I imagine not all of them will do that. Like Karasu can make a great offensive midfielder, but even he himself said, I want to score. I want to get up and score myself. I'm not sitting back here all day. But I feel like Rio would have a lot of fun being an offensive midfielder if that was his position instead of thinking of it as a striker. But I digress. It's interesting to see these things. Now, after that whole kind of back and forth with Nico, we see his foot's injured. So we know that he's going to get substituted at some point. Good call on the people who are predicting with kind of the way his foot hit last chapter and Isagi's reaction and all that last panel I mentioned where all signs were pointing towards an injury, but we couldn't really tell at the time. Good call on those people kind of predicting it. And we pick up with Shido and Sei. And this chapter, Sei really reins him in this chapter because he looks like he's about to get a red card on Nico because Nico had received a yellow card, which is if you get 2 yellow cards, you're ejected, and a red card is an automatic ejection from the game. And Sei stops Shido and says, "Forget all that noise. Are you an idiot? Let's focus on the goal right now. Show them your worth. Show me your worth. Show me what you can do." And one of my favorite panels in Blue Lock so far is Sei is discussing to Shido how you should envision this goal. And this really tells how Sei thinks of what a striker can be and why he's so interested in Shido and Blue Lock as a whole. They have a penalty kick, which means they can free kick it from any point. The ball is in a spot, and you can approach that how you want. Usually there's a wall of defenders. I know this is like basic football stuff, but for those of you who, don't follow sports too closely, this is for you. There's a wall, goalie, and you usually kick around the wall, over the wall, under the wall in some cases, but that is the objective. And sometimes you can have 2 people, so if you have the ball like right here, you can have a player behind it and behind it separately, and so you don't know as the opposing team who's going to take the shot until it happens. And in one of my favorite panels so far in Blue Lock, pages, I should say, Sei tells Shido, "Calm down for a second. Think about your best goal right now." And I quote, "Don't stop thinking outside the box, but envision, no matter what is your best goal here possible?" So he's telling him to use his strength in the penalty area of being just an outlandish player. We know Shido's first major line in the series is impossible. I don't know anything about that. Something along those lines. That I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says nothing's impossible. That's weak-minded thinking, essentially. And Sei picks up on that and tells him to envision his goal, and we see Shido kind of like droop his eyes a little bit to just literally think for a second. It's weird. It's interesting to see. He doesn't just rush in and kick it. He goes, "I have something might be a little too rough for you. It might be a little too high level." And Sei obviously laughs it off, or like not laughs. He brushes it off and says, "All right, let's go." So we see the start of the free kick. Before we get to the free kick, though, I think we got to point out the yaoi elephant in the room. Shido just says things. He's kind of like Ahsoka. He just says shit that's like, "Oh yeah, the way you talk is real nerdy," and then he like kicks a football. Like, it's really odd. I love Shido as a character. Like, I love him, but it's just getting more and more like yaoi by the page. It'll just be like, "Yeah, oh yeah, I'm Cinderella, I'm falling in love," and then it'll like go for the free kick. Yeah, I just had to get like the elephant out of the room on the dialogue there, but it's funny to me. I like it. I like Shido. But he starts the free kick, back on topic. He starts the free kick and he dashes to the right, and he goes to kind of like if it's in front of the goal, he goes to the right of the goal, and Shigiri notices that, kind of plans for it, and he follows Shido out to block the course of the pass because he kind of realizes what Sei's doing. And unfortunately for Blue Lock, and this is why I mentioned that it's not enough that they can just simply notice things. It takes high-level skill defense. It takes on-point, like, it's going to take the flow defense from Isagi, because even though Shigiri predicted it, it still wasn't enough because Sei threaded the needle to get the pass bullseye, as Shido says, bullseye to Shido, where he does a dragon driver in which he kicks it and it goes over the wall. I think it goes over the wall. It goes over the wall and then curves into the net, and Gigamaru is not able to stop it. With this, it's 2-2, and this is the Genius and the Demon's Rampage as the chapter ends, and Isagi comments. And one of my favorite, as you know by this channel, I'm a sports manga junkie. My favorite trope line is when somebody is called a monster. Like, "Are you a monster? Is he a monster?" It's always like my favorite moment in any sports manga. It's just always like something I look forward to, and we finally have it in this manga. After all the insane shit we've seen, sorry for the cursing, guys, if it bothers you, but so after all the insane shit we've seen, we get Shido doing a dragon driver, a named attack, as the One Piece community would call it, a named attack on the goal. And Gugamaru was like, "Is he a monster? Like, this is insane." And it is. Like, it's after all the insane goals we've seen in this manga, it still is incredible that he threaded a needle pass. Sei threaded a needle pass to Shido, in which midair he kicks an arch kick to the goal. It's unbelievable, and this match is only going to get wilder from here because we have Shido on the field. But that does end the chapter, guys. The title of the next chapter is Switching Actors, so that obviously hints at the substitution that's going to come on the part of Nico because of his foot. I imagine that Blue Lock is going to attempt to score, like a restart. That's going to get blocked, and then Nico's going to go try and defend Shido again, and then he's going to hurt his foot kind of, not permanently, and he's out, but he's going to be out for the match, which with his kind of foot injury. And the thing is, or what would be more interesting, obviously he's going to get substituted off because of the injury, but instead of it becoming like him like having, he falls, or he's like, ow, or like his foot hits again, it's hit again, I think it'd be more interesting if maybe he's a second late because of the foot, or like a small, like minute kind of thing. He's a split second late, right? He's a split second late when Shido scores again, and you just have Ren or Karasu immediately come up and say, get out. Because Ego's hands off right now. He's letting the players decide and think for themselves, and the competitive players of Blue Lock, all the egos on the field, will tell Nico immediately to get off the pitch. Let's get somebody on here who's fresh and capable. You're holding us back. I think that'd be more interesting. That's more likely to me what's going to happen, but they'll probably go towards the whole just pure injury route where like he hits Shido again, or somebody steps on his foot or something like that. But I would like it if maybe he just made a slight error, and then somebody comes over and just berates him, not in like a mean, like personal way, but just, you're holding the team back, we need to win, I want to win, yada yada yada, so far and so forth. Ego, and he gets off the pitch, and we have possibly, I'm trying to think of whose mind could work that way. Possibly Rio, because of his dexterity, because of his field vision, because of his way to copy people. Nico isn't remember Nico isn't a physical specimen, so we know that Rio could probably copy his physical skills. Now, if he could copy his quote-unquote watchtower skills, that remains to be seen, but I feel like he could do a close enough replacement of it. And a lot of attacks do start with the defense from the goalkeeper in football. So goalkeeper to Rio, to midfielder, to maybe Rio brings the ball up the field and recreates that, I had the idea, I feel like maybe he recreates that shot from the 5x6 in the selection match with Yukimiya and Nagi, where he does a kind of gyro shot like he did in a selection match, but instead of it just going in the goal, Nagi traps it and shoot, goal. I like that. But anyway, we have to wonder who the selection or the substitution is for Nico. It has to be somebody who's great at defense, might have a different skill set than the field of vision. It could be Baro or Tsukumitsu, who just has high physical stats, who can block Shido physically rather with field vision. Maybe just hounds him completely all over the field, who can keep up with him. Just some ideas. Let me know what you think in the comments about who could replace Nico and how the match is going to proceed from this point. Guys, if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Almost at 100 subs. I really, 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 really appreciate the support. I hope it only continues to grow from here, but until next time, later, guys.